Hi everyone, and welcome to this event of International Working Women of Finland. For those who are not familiar with our organization, we are originally born as a Facebook group in August 2019, and our mission is to allow women of all walks to connect and support each other on their journey towards the work life in Finland. And we welcome all women who are based in Finland to join our organization. At the moment, we have 5,300 members in our Facebook group and very active, lively discussions every day and tips all the time for everybody to succeed in the life in the Finland. The IWWOF Talks Business with online series was created originally for connecting our community with companies in Finland. But today, because of popular demand from our community, we decided to have a special episode. So we are not going to meet with a company, but instead we are going to meet with Bao and with Noemi to discuss a very interesting topic of how to invest in Finland and also how to empower ourselves to actually be women who are confident with saving and investing. So like I said, this is a special edition. It's the Finance 101. So it's going to be relatively a basic level at this moment. And if there is interest from the community, then of course we can do more advanced level later. But I think this is a really good start for those who might not be like so familiar with the topic. And then for those who are a bit more familiar with the topic, then hopefully you still learn a few tips from us for today. And so together with me, we are going to start with Noemi. She will give us a talk about women empowerment when it comes to finance and investing. And then Bao, who is a financial controller at Stora Enso, will be an avid investor, will give us the tips about the saving a little bit, but then more in detail about actually how to invest. So it's going to be very practical examples. And I've seen both presentations. I think they are very good. I'm very excited to share this topic with you today. And we'll be together until 6 o'clock. For your questions, please type them in the chat that is in this Zoom call, and we will try to address most of them in this call as best as we can. So thank you. And now I give the floor to Noemi.
Thank you, Caroline. I'm super happy to meet you all. I will start sharing my screen, and while I'll do this, I will just tell maybe why I'm here or what is my connection with Finland, because I'm currently located in London, but I've lived 2.5 years in Helsinki, and that's the reason why I'm a lucky member of International Working Women of Finland, even though I'm not there anymore. And I want to give you just a brief introduction around the confidence that is needed to invest, because investing is, it's not just about having the skills, though this is really important, and that's what you will learn with Bao. And this is amazing how he's built his presentation. So I'm super excited for you with that. And before that, quite quickly, I will walk you through a few things that I think are important to clarify before you start. And let me just see if I can share this, not like this, but yes. Can you see the screen properly? Yeah. Okay, cool. So let me make this smaller. Okay, so invest with confidence. Yeah, clarify your goals. Just because it's when we do something and we don't know exactly why we do it or who we do it for, it's always a bit messy and blurry. So the first thing, and if you have a pen and paper with you, you can just try and do the exercise now. And then we can share if we have a bit of time. It's always interesting to see how what comes from the community when we're in a group like this. But the question that is interesting to ask is, why does money in general matter to me? Because if we're talking about investing, it means that there is a certain amount of money that we want to use for a specific reason. But it's interesting before that to just know why it's important to us. And the idea of this exercise that you can apply to any goal that you have in life or any topic that you want to work on is simply to answer this series of, it's the why question. It's the kids question, like money matters to me because, and you write the first answer that comes. No need to really overthink it. It's just very spontaneously, money matters to me because A, and then you take this first answer, and A matters to me because blah blah blah, and you take this second answer, blah 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 matters to me because tack tack tack, and you do the exercise like this until you get to the core, to the core of why it matters to you. What is really important beyond I can pay my bills, or I can send my kids to school and all this, but when you go really deep, what is the core reason why it matters to you? And for some people, it will take, maybe you just have 3 rounds of question. It matters to me because tack tack, it matters to me, it matters to me. For other people, you will maybe answer to the question 12 times. It doesn't matter how many times you have to do it until you get to the core, but it's really interesting to be honest with yourself and to go until you feel that you have discovered the inner truth of why it matters to you. We can take just 1 minute if you want to try, and then if someone wants to share, I don't know if I will see the chat from here, but you can also unmute yourself if you want, either if you want to share what you've written there, or it can also be a very intimate question, if you want to share if you are discovering something that you didn't know. And you will like Caroline, if you want, then you can send the slides if you want to do the exercise at home and take the time. I think it's worth also having the time to sit with those questions and see what comes out of that. So yeah, let's see. I really want to respect your time, so I'm just checking what's the time now. But if someone wants, or if you've already tried this exercise for this topic or for another, it's also interesting to hear your experience. So if someone wants to share, really feel free either to tap in the chat or to unmute yourself, and because I can't really see you all. There. And for those who are joining, we are just going quickly through a first intro around money mindset and how to find the confidence to invest, and then you will have all the details of concretely how to do it with Bao. And I think we'll move forward. Oh, well, yeah. Moving forward, what is the mission of your investment? So first question was about money in general, why it matters to you, and then about investing specifically, what is the mission of that investment? Because money, money needs to have a direction, like very concretely. It's as if it has to know what it's going to be. What is its mission? What is its task? So what do you want to accomplish with your investment? Because when you know this, it will probably also influence the kind of investment you're going to choose. So what is the work that this money is meant to accomplish? And there you can draw a list of what you intend to use the benefits of your investment for. And again, I always insist on writing with pen and paper, because we think we have things in our heads, like we think we know, but when we start writing them down, and on the computer, it doesn't have the same effect. The brain works differently if we write by hand or if we type it in the computer. So when you start writing things down, sometimes you see things appearing that you were not aware of. And that's the point of these exercises, is to become really aware of what is the purpose of this investment and what exactly you want to do with this money. So draw the list, and also when you do these exercises, it doesn't have to be always very logical or thinking in terms of it's possible or it's not possible. It's just opening possibilities, and then you will see concretely in the practicalities of it. You will see later. But first, you have to know where you want to go, and that's what these lists can help you do. So what is the mission of this money? You know why it matters to you, and now you're defining what you want to do with it exactly. What is it going to support? And that's where I was just saying that you don't have to think about whether it's possible or not, what is logical or not. And that's because very quickly when we start talking about money, because we put so much into this topic, it reveals other things. And often we might realize that there are fears or judgments around that. And they always, like, you can really be kind to those fears and judgments because they have no ill intention, or they don't want to hurt you in any way. But they have a good reason for being there. So it's easier to work with them when we can embrace them, when we can see, okay, they have no wrong intention, but then they are here. So we have to do something with them, and we have to use them for the best, because there's a strength in that as well. So the fears and judgments that might be there, and you will see if it resonates with you or not. And maybe they might also explain why you haven't started investing yet, for instance. But it can be, I'm not able to take so much responsibility, or I'm not smart enough, I haven't studied finances, I'm bad with numbers, other people will judge me because when you invest, you're a bad person, or that kind of ideas. It's risky, it's bad, it's not for women, it's too complicated. So all these things, maybe you've heard them, or maybe you've heard them in your head, this little voice that we sometimes have that is very critical. So these, you can use these if they resonate with you, or you can draw your own list and see, well, question them. Is it really true? Am I really not able to take so much responsibility? Maybe you have children, so you know something about taking responsibility. Or maybe you're an entrepreneur, you also know something about taking responsibility. Or you're not smart enough. Who is saying that? On what is it based? And for each fear or judgment, question it and ask yourself, how can I be 100% sure that this is true? Is there a chance that the opposite is true? I'm able to take so much responsibility. What can you find in your direct experience or in people around you that proves that, yes, you are able to take so much responsibility? So that is just because we tend to think that those thoughts are the truth, and that's it, and we can't change it. And then when we start questioning and say, can I really be sure of that? You see that, no, you can't. Or no, there's nothing that proves that you are not smart enough. And then you start even looking for proofs that, yes, you are smart enough. And you build the opposite belief, because basically it's something that you believe that at the moment is not serving you. And if you can create the opposite belief, the one that is serving you, then you will work with that, and that gives you the confidence, because you know you can take so much responsibility, you know you're smart enough, you know you're good with numbers. Maybe you were not in the past, but that's something you can change. So this to question these so-called truths or ideas that you have about what investing or money means, or about yourself. And then create your own story with finance. That includes investing and more generally with finance. Like, that's a nice exercise that you can do if you like writing. Again, like, really write it. What is, take one goal that you have, and if you're in this call, you probably have an investing goal. What is it exactly that you want to do? Something that is exciting. It's a bit scary, but it's not completely terrifying, because you have to be able to believe at least a little bit that you are able to do it. So something that is a mix of excitement and fear, and then write the story of that. What is this ideal investment that you're going to do? Who will be there with you? What are you going to do exactly? how, when, where, what are the feelings and the emotions, who are the other people involved. And the more, it's like you're writing the script of the movie, and the more precise you can be, the easier it will be to create it. And after that, one point that is important is to identify in this ideal story, what is it that you can do and you want to do yourself? What is it that you want to learn? So maybe there are things you know you can't do it because you haven't learned it, but you're interested in learning that. And what is it that you want to delegate? Maybe you need the help of a financial advisor. And here, one last comment I would, I want to make you aware is, sometimes when we're a bit scared of something, we say, yeah, I want to learn more. And once I have learned this, then maybe I will dare. But first I need to learn that, and then that, and then that, and then that. And then we use the desire for learning as an excuse to not take action because we're a bit afraid. So here you can feel, and usually we feel it like very physically in the body, where is the limit, or where is the shift between I'm sincerely interested in this and I want to learn more, and that's why you are here, and I've already studied so much, but I want to study even more because I don't dare to take action. So sense this, and then if there is something where you need help, ask for help. People are always happy to help in general, but well, that you also have people whose job it is to help you with your finances. But I would say remember that also as a general rule for life, that people are happy to help others, and they just need to know that you would like their help. So go for it and ask. And yes, thank you. That was a bit of fast walk through this, but I think, or I hope it gives you this idea that there is a bit of mindset work that can support all the knowledge that you're going to acquire now with Bao about how to do it technically, practically. And if you have any question, let me stop sharing my screen so that I can see you.
Yeah, thank you, Noemi. No questions so far, but whilst you were presenting, then I took the liberty of following your advice, and I put the 3 main exercises of your presentation actually in our community, so that if people want to practice with the paper and the pen, then to build this narrative, and then to understand why they want to invest, and then to build this this kind of like a roadmap, almost like you had in the last one. So I think very, very interesting topic. We had a couple of people in the chat who started already writing the money matters to me because, you know, blah blah blah, as you were saying. So I think this is really good, and I really like what you said, you know, in terms of like we often have imposter syndrome as women, and also self-deprecation and many other nasty inherited habits, and I think it's important what you said, that we need to have the confidence that we are smart enough and we can learn enough about the topic, and then we can do this with a degree of confidence. Of course, maybe not putting all the savings at once in the table, but kind of like learning gradually through experiences. So I think that was a very nice sharing from your side. And as well, what you said, the difference between learning enough to be confident to start versus knowing everything and still holding back because we feel that we don't know enough. So I think these are very good learnings, and I'm probably belonging to the second category, that I will never know enough before I can, you know, jump the boat with these kind of topics. So I think it's also a good learning experience for me. So thank you for that.
Well, great. And I'm sure when you start writing down, you actually see the proof that, yes, you know enough. Yes, you are smart enough. Yes, you are confident enough. And that's why writing is really, really interesting, because that's where you see it on the papers and not just in your head where it's blurry. So yeah, I'm happy to see, well, curious to see what you're going to do with that, because I'm sure you know enough.
Great, thank you so much, Noemi. Then let's get into very practical examples then of what we can do as first steps. So Bao, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Karin. And hello, everyone. So my name is Bao Pham, and I have been in Finland for a while, so almost 10 years. And I'm very glad to join you here today. I will now start sharing my screen. So let me know when you can see it. Perfect. Okay, so maybe first a couple words about myself. So I've been working as the business controller for Stora Enso. So it's a paper and packaging material company. And I am responsible for the segment newspaper, book paper, and also magazine paper. So here I want to stress out that I'm just a 9 to 5 office worker guy, just like many of you. So I'm no financial expert or investment banker guy. So I don't think that investing is any rocket science. And I'm not even smart, so I've been studying Finnish for the last 4 years, and the staff at the Arkioski have no idea what I'm talking about. So if I can do it, I'm sure most of you can do it as well. So I've been managing my own personal finance and also making investment in Finland for the last 5 years. And today I would like to share a bit with you how I do that, and maybe you are also interested in doing the same with your money. Okay. I hope that my screen is now shared correctly. Can anyone confirm if you can see the slide?
All good.
Perfect, thanks. So this is our agenda for today. First of all, we talk about how to set and plan our personal financial goals or target. And then next, we talk about managing our monthly expense and also budgeting. And then we will look into different investment options that are available to us here in Finland. And last but not least, we talk about buying a house or an apartment in Finland. So first of all, let's take a look at the personal planning. Okay, so many of us, we say that why do we need to manage our personal finance? And people say that because we want to achieve the financial freedom. We want to be financially independent, or simply put, we want to be rich. But then how much is being rich? Is it 100,000 euro enough? Or is it 500,000? Or is it 5 million euro? So the answer is, of course, personal and up to every one of us. However, finance, it is a game of numbers. And therefore, we cannot work with ambiguous target. The target needs to be specific, need to be tangible, need to be quantifiable. For example, you can say that, okay, I want to have 500,000 in the next 20 years. So that's something that we can work with. Or you can say that I want to save 100,000 euro for my daughter when she turned 18. So that's something that's specific and we can work with that. Therefore, we should identify our goal, put that in the numbers, and put a timeline next to it. So in how many years would you like to achieve that? And also during our planning, we should account for the unexpected event. For example, if somebody in our family suddenly needs some financial help, or if we want to have another child, and those things should be taken into account when we plan our money in the future. So in short, we should understand what is our current financial situation, how much do we have, and also look into the future and see exactly what is our goal. So we know where we are standing and we know exactly where we want to be. And we know the timeline, the deadline that we give ourselves, is it 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? And then from that, we can start planning. So just make the goal very specific and not something like, I just want to be rich or I want to be financial free. Make it specific and tangible. Now I have a small quiz. So you can go to this website, menti.com, and then you can enter the code here, 4555804. And there are 2 questions that I would like you to answer. And now I will switch to the slide to see the answer that you give.
Sorry, can you repeat? Oh, the number is there. Yes, on the top.
Yeah.
You were too fast for us, but it's also written there on the top of the slide, so that's good.
You go to menti.com and then use this code. It should be accessible. So the first question is, in how many years would you like to retire? Let's see, 50, 30, 15, 10. have maybe 16 answers. Okay, I would say maybe 20 would be the most popular answers. And then on the second questions, it is, how much would you like to receive per month after you retire? And I see that there's one person that would like to become, or I would like to have caviar for breakfast every day. So ambitious. But yeah, let's say that the average or the most popular answer is the 3,000 euro. So if we go back to the slide now, I can show you this one. So here's an Excel file. It's very simple calculation, but let's put in according to the answers. You say that you want 3,000 per month after retirement. So basically, if I multiply that for 12 months, then it is 36,000 euro per year. And if we assume that we have the tax rate of 30% and the annual return rate of 5%, then we will need roughly 1 million euro before we retire. And then if we want to have 1 million euro in 20 years, then how much should we save and invest every month, starting right now? So to do that, there's a lot of tools on the internet that you can use to help you calculate the monthly saving amount. And here I want to introduce this simple tool to you. I will share the link to you later on, so you don't need to worry about this one. But let's say, for example, here, I say that right now I have 20,000 euro in my saving account. And then I want to have 1 million euro after 20 years. And then let's see how much that we will receive. So here you can see that to achieve 500,000 euro, you need to save roughly, let me see, something wrong with these calculators. Let me adjust this figure, 2,000. Yeah, so it say that if you manage to save minimum 2,000 euro every month, and you manage to invest that 2,000 euro at a 6% roll rate. So what does it mean to have a 6% roll rate? So if you invest 1,000 in 2021 at the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the year, you get like 60 euro out of 1,000. And that corresponding to 6% return rate. So if you manage to save 2,000 euro every month for the next 20 years, and you will end up with almost 1 million euro. So 971,000 euro. So that's how you can calculate to see how much you need to save every month, starting from now to reach your target in the next 20 years. So you can do that exercise as many times as you want and adjusting the figure as needed. For example, you can adjust maybe not 20 years, but 30 years, and you see how the figures move. Right, so if we now come back to the slide, I want to stress against that when you are doing the planning for your financial target, make sure that the target is quantifiable. It should be some specific figures. And then from that, you can try to think about how much I need to start saving right now in order to reach that target in that many years. Okay, so now we move to the next part. So we have our long-term plan, that's how we can actually manage our monthly income and expenses. So this kind of ratio, they are recommended by many financial experts. And they said that we should spend 50% of our income on the necessary items. For example, paying the house rent or paying for food, transportation, or the phone bills or stuff like that. And then the next 20% of your income should go to other like want. It's not really necessary, but we would really want that. For example, vacations or that new dress or that dinner at the restaurant, stuff like that. And then we should try to save and invest at least 30% of our income every month. And one rules that I have been applying for myself is that to save and invest first before spending. So what does it mean? So every time or every month I receive my salary, I immediately transfer the saving amount to a different account. So for example, if I receive 2,000 euro per month at the salary, and immediately after I receive the salary, I transfer 600 euro to another account to make sure that I will not touch or I will not overspending the saving amount. So if we can follow these figures already, 50, 30, 20%, then that's great. But if you have not been able to do that, maybe put a little bit thought into your spending to see where you can reduce your spending and try to make sure that you can save at least 20 to 50% of your net income after tax. And then one thing that we can do is also to monitor our spend throughout the month. So if you are a Nordea customer, then you can use the Nordea Wallet app. So it's the mobile app that it helps you to track on the spending on your card. So whatever you spend with your card, it will be recorded and show in the app like this. So it helps also to categorize your spending, like how much you spend on shopping, how much you spend on food and transportation, and so on. So it helps you to track the amount and also the different item that you spend on. And you can also compare month by month. So you can see, are you spending too much in June? If so, then what is the reason behind that? Are you doing a big vacation there? Or what is it? But if you are not a Nordea customer, then you can also use a third-party app. So this one I've been using for myself is called Moneyfy. This is the manual input. So every time you spend something, you need to open the app and you have to hit this minus button and put in the figure. For example, if I spend like 20 euro for some gas, so to fill up the gas in my car, and I can open the app, put in the minus 20 and select transportation as the category. And one thing that I find this app very useful is it can help you to set the budget. For example, here this is the budget I set for myself, so 600 per month. And the red figure here is how much I have been spending for the month. So I have spent so far 483 euros. And the balance here is show you how much money I have left for the month. So until the month end, I have 116 euro left. So it helps you to know exactly how much you have to spend. And you can adjust your spending accordingly to make sure that you do not go over the budget. So they are the two very interesting apps that you can use to monitor your expenses. But of course, there are a lot of these or similar apps on the internet. So if you have already using once, then it's okay, stick to that app. No need to change to these two. Okay, so we have talked about how we should plan our financial target and how we should actually manage our monthly spend and budgeting. And then we now go into a more interesting area about investing, how we can grow our money. So first, let's answer the questions, why should we invest our idle money? So this is the result from a survey that I made with the Vietnamese professional working people in Finland. So as you can see that only 75% of the people answers say that they have active investment, and more than 1/4 of them say that they have absolutely no investment at all. It is also interesting from the result is that 60% of the men said that they invest something, while the figures for the ladies is only 62%. And also when it comes to saving account, 20% of the ladies said that they put money in the saving account, but only 11% of men say that they do the same thing. So even though the number of answers to this survey is pretty small, roughly 77 people answer, but we can already see that when it comes to investing, the ladies seem to be more conservative, more careful with their money. They rather put in a saving account than investing in the stock market or in other market. But it's still, we have not answered why do we need to invest. So here is the picture that I took directly from Nordea website. So if you have 10,000 euro now, and if you keep it like that, you do not invest, you just put it under your bed, and you stay like that, and after 10 years, you actually lose the money of your saving because of inflation. So if you can read from the slide here, so the inflation is the phenomenon that the money will lose its value over time as the price for grocery, price for gasoline, price for like on the stuff that you buy, they increase over time. So if you keep your money the same, the purchasing power of that money will decrease. So if you have 10,000 euro now, after 10 years, its purchasing power drop to only correspond to only 8,100 euro. So if you keep your money here and you do not invest, you're losing the money due to inflation. And the second reason that we should invest is that if you look at these charts, it's also directly from Nordea Bank. They say that if you are invest 10,000 euro in 2008, and if you are investing with a 5% return rate, and this is the green line that demonstrates how your investment grows throughout the time. So after 10 years in 2018, your investment from 10,000 euro, you grow to 16,000 euro. So that more than 50% increase. But if you just put that into a saving account with the yearly interest rate of 0.5%, then after 10 years, you have 10,500 euros. And that is not enough to compensate for the inflation loss, as you can see from the previous slide. So that are the two reasons that we need to invest. First of all, we need to invest to beat the inflation, or else we are losing money due to inflation. And the second reason is that investing is the only way to grow our money. Okay, so now we look into the different investment and also saving alternatives that are available to us here in Finland. So first of all, let's look at the saving account. So the advantages of the saving account is that they are usually very easy to open. You don't even need to go to the bank or call anyone. You can do it right in your net bank. And then they are usually do not require any extra fee. You do not need to spend anything to open a saving account. And also the money that you put in the account are pretty safe. So there are a lot of guarantee to make sure that you will not lose your money in your saving account. And of course, there's no need to monitor the saving account. Maybe you can check it once a year, but no need to monitor anything. So it requires very minimal effort from you. However, on the other side, you can see that the saving account or the interest rate for the saving account in Finland, they are extremely low. So they are range from 0.05 to up to maximum 2%. And with that rate, that is not enough to compensate for inflation rate. And here I give some example for saving account with Nordea. So they have like this the per account, and they have this the flexi deposit or the fixed term saving account, and also this the ASP account. So this ASP account is a special account meant for people who want to buy an apartment or a house in the future. But even with this, then the interest rate is still pretty low. Then one thing that you can consider is how about the saving account in your home country. So for example, where I came from in Vietnam, usually the average interest rate for saving account is roughly between 6 and 7% per year. And the inflation rate there is around 3.5%. So it makes much more sense to me if I want to put my money into saving account is to put it in Vietnam rather than in Finland. So you don't need to limit your option in Finland, but maybe check back to your home country. How is the interest rate there? Is it make sense to put the money there instead of in Finland? Now we look at the more interesting options is to invest in the stock market. So first of all, we look at the individual company's investment. And before we invest in the stock market, we need to make sure that we understand what is the stock and what is that to own the stock. So you know that company like Microsoft or Google, they have to sell the stock to raise the money to support their business operations. So when the company offers its stock to the public through an exchange, for example, at the Helsinki Stock Exchange or at the Nasdaq Stock Exchange in the US, it's called an initial public offering or the IPO, as you can see here. So basically, the company are selling the stock to the investor, and then those investors can later trade the stock with other investors on the stock exchange. So when you are buying the stock on the market, you are basically buying the stock at the secondary market. So you are buying the stock from other investors and not directly from the company itself. As you can read from the slide here, so when you are the owner of the stock, you also own a proportion of the corporation access and the profit that equal to how many stock that you own. So if you are owning like 10 of Microsoft stock, it means that you own a tiny bit of Microsoft access and also profit. But then what does it mean to, or how can we make money or make profit from owning the stock? So there are two ways to do it. First of all, you can receive the dividend from the company. So what is dividend? A dividend is the profit that the company decides to share with the stockholders. For example, company A managed to make a profit of 1 million in 2020, and it decided that it will now share the profit equally to its 10 shareholder or stockholder. So basically, every stockholder will receive 100,000 euro as dividend. So that's how we can make money from own the stock. And the other option is the more popular one. Basically, you buy the stock at a lower price and you sell the stock at a higher price. So this we call it the price appreciation or the capital gain increase. So buy low, sell high. That's it. So in summary, there are two ways to make profit from owning the stock: to receive the dividend, usually once or twice a year from the company, or to trade the stock and take advantage of the price difference between what you bought and when you sell the stock. As you can see that stock investment can provide very high return. On the slide now, I put Apple stock. So back in 2016, Apple stock was maybe 25, 27 USD per share. And now in last summer, this was up to 125 USD per share. So that's like 4 or 5 times increase over the course of only 4 years. So it can provide you with a very high return. However, on the other hand, stock investment is also very risky. As you can see here, this is Stora Enso on my company. It is listed on the Helsinki Stock Exchange. You can see its price has fluctuated a lot. It can go from the very low level, it goes all the way up to a high level, and it drop back to a lower level, and then go up again, and then have a significant drop, and then go up, and then drop, and then go up, and then drop. So it's fluctuated a lot. So there are a lot of risk involved with buying stock and investing in the stock market. For example, if you buy the Stora Enso stock here in July 2018, basically you have bought the stock at the very highest price. So you are making loss on the way until last summer. There's no way to get out of it. So it's really risky to invest in the stock market. And there are different investing strategies that people kind of follow when they invest in the stock. Here I presented the most 3 popular one. So first of all, we have this value investing. So for the value investor, they are looking at the company that are that the stock price are cheaper than what the company are actually worth, and they are usually big company, but not that hot or not that popular. Usually they are like maybe like electricity company or water management company. So they are not like the celebrity of the stock market. Nobody care about them, but they are actually making very good money. They have stable revenue and they have a very good resistance to any crisis. For example, a water management company, they may not be affected at all with the market crash. It has nothing to do with its revenue. So those value investors, they are looking for those type of company and they will invest in those. But to do this value investing strategy, it requires a lot of digging into the company business. You have to read the financial statement, understand how the financial situation of the company is, what are the cash flow, how's the revenue is doing, and also looking at the competitors and the general market in the big pictures. So it requires a lot of time. And then the second strategy is to do the growth investing. So growth investing, they are focusing on very high, usually they are small company, high tech, and have big potential for growth. For example, Google, Tesla, or those solar energy companies. They have a lot of potential for like breakthrough and growth in the future. So they are the target of the growth investor. However, it is very risky with the growth because you never know if it's actually a valid technology or is it a bubble. For example, in the past we have this dot-com bubble, and also right now we are very hot with the AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Everybody is talking about that. Everybody is talking about electric cars. But then actually, how can they be commercialized in the mainstream? How can they come from the lab product into a consumer product? It may take 10, 20 years in order for them to mature and actually making profit. So every time we come across a road company, it's always good to really question their strategy and also their product. Is it going to make money soon in the next 2 or 3 years, or do we have to wait 10 years, 20 years to actually see the value? And then the last strategy is called technical investing. So for those technical investors, they don't care that much about the business or the company itself. They only care about the stock price movement. So they are trading, or they are making buying and selling decision based on how the stock are moving. For example, if they are detecting an uptrend or momentum in the price, then they could buy the stock and they will wait until the trend is over or downward trend is detected, and then they sell the stock. They don't even care if the company is making computer or they are making bicycle. They don't really care about business that much. They're only looking at the chart and they try to analyze the charts, try to predict when the stock will move and where is it moving. Is it up or down? But one thing that if you want to become a technical investor is that, of course, besides from learning the technical analysis, you have to be aware of the commission and the brokerage fee. So every time you trade, you buy or sell the stock, there's a lot of fee involved, and sometimes those fee can eat up to your profit. So of course, you can go to Google and you can like just type in like basic stock investing strategy, and I think that you have a lot of results there, and you can read in more details how are these and which one would be more suitable to your style. But just keep in mind that every strategy has their own pros and cons, so there is no like absolute winning strategy. Now we have one more squeeze. So if you go to menti.com again and enter the code as shown on the screen here, and let's maybe see how we are thinking about the stock market, and is there any potential company in our own opinion that we should invest in. Yeah, Kone is great.
And I'm not biased at all. For those who know me, I work at Kone, so and I have stocks at Kone. So.
I do too. So yes, renewable is an inevitable trend. So that is the future of our society. So it's really hard to get wrong with renewable. Yeah, cannabis is really hot right now. People are talking about the legalization of cannabis and that the cannabis company will rise in the future. Here we have green tech, digital health. Yeah, here's a lot of interesting answers. And for example, if you want to invest in a green tech company, you can just start by that. So Google, what is the leader in the green tech industry? What are the leadership company? Or what is the biggest company? Or maybe you can Google like company with the highest growth potential in green tech. It should give you some idea or some names to start further research. So yeah, just start with the very basic. So pick an industry that you think is have a very good potential, like green tech or renewable or healthcare, or even like digitalization. And start with industry. Try to see what are the biggest company there, or what is the small company but have a very high potential for growth. And then maybe you will have some potential company that you can buy the stock. And I try to steer away from the company that I do not know. So if you think that there's some industry that is so complex that you cannot comprehend, then maybe you should not invest in those. And of course, you can start with your own very own industry. For example, I'm working in paper industry, so I know exactly how's the paper market, what is the trend for the next 5-10 years, what are the big company in that industry. So I will start with my paper industry. I look in those and I see, okay, which company could be the best buy for me? Which one has the best market, has the best customer base, or has a lot of product in their R&D pipeline? So start with your own industry. That would be really informative. Okay, so let's go back with the slide. So we have talked about the individual company investment, and now we move on to mutual fund and exchange traded funds, or ETF. So they
And
are
sorry to interrupt you, Bao, but just so you know, we've got a very fiery chat going on, so I'm collecting all the questions. But reserve some time at a good 20 minutes, I think, for questions because there is a lot.
Yes.
But I let you go now with the flow, because some of the questions you might actually answer before the end of the presentation. But then let's reserve some good time because there's very good discussions and questions on the chat. Please go ahead. Thank you.
So both mutual fund and ETF, they allow investor to invest in a portfolio of stock selected from the market. And you can see that my poor drawing here. So basically they pull many company on together, put it one package, and then allow the individual investor to invest in that bunch of company. So instead of investing in Google or Microsoft or Kone, you can now invest in like the 100 biggest company on the Helsinki Stock Exchange, or you invest in all the technology company in Finland. So that kind of the concept behind mutual fund and ETF. But how are they different? So for mutual fund, they are usually more actively managed, and they do not have any brokerage or commission fee. But on the other hand, they require management fee and even entry or exit fee. So when you want to entry into the fund or you want to exit, withdraw money out of the fund, then there is some fee that you have to pay. And usually they have some minimum investment threshold. This could be 1,000 euro, or it could be like 10,000 euro, or even for some prestige fund, they require minimum investment of 100,000 euro. Then for ETF, then they are usually passive fund. They are tracking the market index. So they try to replicate the overall market performance. They don't try to beat the market. Usually they have a commission and brokerage fee. So when you buy ETF, you have to pay something as the commission. But on the other hand, they have a pretty low, or sometimes they don't even have a management fee. And usually they do not have any entry or exit fee. And of course, they do not have any minimum investment threshold. As long as you can afford 1 unit, then you can buy it. It's just like a stock. So there is no minimum investment limit. So my advice that if you just start with the stock market, you should look into this ETF. For example, if you want to invest in the stock market in Finland, you want to follow the average return rate of the stock market in Finland, maybe try to find some ETF that tracking the Finnish stock market. And then only when you try to look for something that you cannot find any ETF, then you can turn to mutual fund. And usually they are very specific need for mutual fund. For example, if you are specialized in some trading strategy, then usually you can only find them in mutual fund. So my advice that try to look for ETF first. If you cannot find it in ETF, then try with the mutual fund. And usually mutual fund are designed to beat the market, to be more than the market, to be higher than the market. And ETF, they are usually designed just to follow the average performance of the market. And of course, because they help you to invest at the same time to multiple companies. So they have to reduce the risk, that you don't have to be like exposed 100% to Google or 100% to Apple. You can be like only 5% exposed to Google, and then 5% exposed to Kone, 5% exposed to Apple. So you have to diversify your risk and lower the risk for your portfolio. Sorry. So then this is the 3 platforms that I usually use. The first one is the Nordea. So it's my bank. It's very trustworthy. I know what is it. I know the office, and it is available in English. And also Nordea will report any profit or loss directly to Vero, so I don't need to worry about the tax reporting. However, Nordea is very slow with the interface, and they have a slightly higher fee and commission compared to other platforms. However, if you are investing maybe 10 or 5,000 euro, then you don't need to worry that much about the fee. There will not be a big difference there. And then the second platform that I use is Nordnet. So they have these special Nordnet index fund for a Nordic market with a 0 management fee. So they have one fund for Finland that's tracking the Finnish stock market. They have one fund for Sweden, one for Norway, and also one for Denmark. And also that if you are buying those Nordnet market products, for example, this Nordnet index fund, you don't have to pay any brokerage fee. So it's free. You don't have to pay any fee to use the products. And also Nordnet will report your tax to Vero directly. You don't need to worry about that. However, they are only available in Finnish or Swedish. So if you are not familiar or not fluent in the languages, then it's not that easy to navigate Nordnet. And then the third option that I use is eToro. So they are very user-friendly, have a very modern and beautiful design. It also have a mobile application. And eToro provides some very interesting features. For example, you can copy another investor, so you can replicate exactly what that investor is investing in. And it also provides you the virtual portfolio. So when you first start trading, you don't need to put any money in that. You can use the fake money, the virtual money, and you can exercise, start trading just to see, to have a feeling of how the market goes, how is your decision. So it's like a game. So you don't need to pay, or you don't need to worry about losing your money. Just register an account and open a virtual portfolio and start trading. And when you are trading the stock, buying and selling the stock with eToro, you don't need to pay any brokerage fee. However, if you are trading other financial product that is not the stock itself, they call them CFD. So you have to pay some fee for that. So be careful when you make the order and check in on the screen whether you have to pay any fee or not. eToro also have other fee and charge. For example, when you want to withdraw the money, you have to pay something. If you leave your account there for too long without any trading activity, for example, 1 or 2 years, then you have to pay some inactivity fee. And that when you withdraw your money, the minimum withdrawal amount, I remember, is 50 euro. So you cannot withdraw less than 50 euro at per time. And then eToro has no mutual investment, so you cannot use eToro for mutual fund investment. Okay, so that is for the stock market investment. Last but not least, let's go into real estate investment or buying a house in Finland. This is the very interesting statement. So don't wait to buy real estate, but buy real estate and wait. It is not correct all the time, but personally I find it interesting and worth thinking about. Here you can see the price and the rent development in the Helsinki metropolitan area or the Uusimaa area for the last 18 years from 2000 to 2018. So you can see it has been always, or at least almost all the time, increasing. So on average, the Helsinki or the Uusimaa area house price had increased by 4% per year. So I think that's a lot. Basically, it's double in within 18 years. And when you are buying an apartment or a house in Finland, you often do not purchase the house or the apartment directly, but you are buying the housing share from the housing company that is corresponding to the size of your apartment. The only exception is when you buy a detached house or the omakoti, then you're buying the real estate. So it's the house plus the land plot that come with it. And here I list the most 5 popular housing type in Finland. First, you have this omakoti or your own detached house. Next, you have this the paritalo or the duplex house. So they are usually 2 houses put next to each other, sharing the same wall in the middle. And then the third type is this the rivitalo or row house. Oh, yeah, it's safe for the name, so it's a row of house putting all together. And the fourth type is this the luhitalo. I don't know if it's the correct English translation. I put love house, but maybe it's not called love house. But from my point of view, it looked like rivitalo putting on top of each other. And then last but not least, you have this the kerrostalo or the normal apartment building. So this is my, so I bought my own apartment here in Finland, and this is my kind of process or the timeline how to do it. So first of all, I go to those websites, or Cotier or air2ov.com, and I try to search for the area that I want to buy. For example, if you want to buy in Helsinki, then put Helsinki in there. If you want to buy like new houses that was built from 2010 onward, then put the criteria in there. And how many square meter do you want? Is it 40 to 60 or above 70? And how many rooms do you want the house to have? 3 room or 3 bedroom, of 3 or 4 or 5 room if you have a big family. So just do a quick research. The purpose of this is to get the feeling of what is the price level that you are looking at and how much you need to borrow from the bank. So after you know that, then you can go and talk to the bank, see how much you can borrow from them and what is the interest rate. And my tip is that try to talk to many banks, not only your own bank, but different banks like Nordea, Danske, OP. Just talk to many of them and see who give you the best deal. And after you have been talking with the bank, then the bank usually gives you the loan promise. So they promise that they will lend you this much amount of loan. After that, you go back to the website and try to narrow down your search to maybe down to a few potential apartments. And then you talk to the agent or talk directly to the seller, try to arrange a time to visit the apartment and look into the paper to see what are the upcoming renovation. Is there any big renovation coming up in the next 5 years or so? How's the house look like in your real life? Do you have like a feeling that is where it's going to build your home, your family? And if you think that is a good option, then you can bid on the price. So for example, if the seller is asking for 200,000 euro, you can make a bid of 180,000 euro, but make sure that you only bid on one apartment at a time. They call the bidding is binding. So if you bid 180,000 euro and the seller accept, then you have to move forward with the contract, or else you have to pay a penalty. So do not bid on multiple apartments at the same time. And of course, if everything go well, then you, the seller, and your bank will sit together and conclude the deal. You will sign the contract, and then you hand over the key. So that is the process to buy an apartment in Finland. And at the end of the presentation, I have some tips and investment alternative. So my first tip is always to have some emergency money. It should cover at least 6 months of your normal expense. So if you usually spend maybe 1,000 per month, then you should have 6,000 as the emergency money. So it helps, for example, if you lose your job or if something unexpected happen. And my second tip is to use the credit card. There are two reasons. First of all, there's a lot of promotional program that go with the credit card. For example, Noria, they offer the credit card with the Finnair. So every time you spend with the credit card, you get some Finnair point, which you can use to buy the flight. And the credit card, they also have the insurance that come with it. So for example, if you go abroad for vacation and you want to rent a car, you can use your credit card to rent a car and you can get some insurance in case you have accident. And the second option is that, second reason that I recommend credit card is your money is much more well protected compared to a debit card. So because the money that you are using right now is the bank's money, it's not your money yet. So you are borrowing from the bank to use. So the bank, they have much more, or they have more careful way to make sure that you are not being scammed. So for example, if you are, for some reason, you are being scammed on the internet, you can try to get the money back a little bit easier with the credit card compared to with a debit card. But one thing that I want you to remember, if you are using a credit card, always pay on time, because the late payment interest rate on the credit card is super high. It could be 11, 12%. So always pay on time, do not miss that. One tip is if you are using Noria, I don't know about other bank, but if you are not using Noria, then you can limit the geography usage of your card. For example, you make sure that your card can only be used within Europe or even within Finland only. And you can limit the daily cash withdrawal, so they cannot withdraw more than 500 euro per day, or they cannot use for more than 1,000 euro per day. So that help in case if you lose your card. For example, if you are traveling abroad and you lose your card, somebody might pick it up and withdraw the money from your card. So this help to put a bit more protection on our credit card. And last but not least, we've been talking about investing in the stock market, real estate, but the most important thing is to invest in yourself, not only in your physical health, like going to gym, eating good food, but also in mental health, spending time with your loved one, and also spending time taking courses that help you to advance in your career or in your life. So if you can spend like 100 euro on a new dress, then it should be okay to spend 100 euro on a Coursera courses that teach you like how to do more stuff with or how you learn about coding or programming that help you in your daily job, or learn about how to be happy in life. So they are things that we can spend money on. And I want to conclude my presentation with this slide. So I want you to start doing something right now. So not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, but immediately, maybe even better if after today. So try to write down what is your financial target and try to create a monthly budget. So I say that maybe I will not spend more than 1,000 euro every month, and then choose a way to monitor that. You can do it like manually with paper and pen or using an app as I recommended at the beginning of the presentation. And then maybe look into the investment option, study a little bit, Google it, read more about it on the internet, try to see which one could be suitable for you. And then start the pilot. You can do it small. You don't need to put like 10,000 euro into investment. You can start with 200 euro or 500 euro. Just do something. Do not procrastinate, because every day that you are not investing is a day wasted. A day that you give into inflation. So if possible, then start it right away. And that concludes my my speech for today. Thank you very much. And now I think it's time for some Q&A.
Yes, thank you so much, Bao. This was such a wonderful, well-structured presentation and so much information that is like very valuable. So I think for this 101 level first session, it was absolutely brilliant. And there was a lot of compliments on your presentation in the chat box. So thank you so much for that. I will start maybe with a personal story, if that's okay to share, because then the presentation got me to think a little bit. And then after that, we can go through the questions and see which ones have not been answered. So maybe the personal story first. So reflecting back to what you were saying, to have this kind of like calculator to sort of help you to define where you want to go. So this is also something that I used many years ago, too many years ago that I care to say. And my idea at the time, living in the Tampere region, was to have 20,000 euros, because that was at the time enough to do a down payment on a Rivitalo. So with my partner, we saved and saved and saved to reach that number. And then we managed to buy our first Rivitalo. So we were like super excited. At the time, I was 24 and he was 26. And everybody thought, literally everybody, that we were insane for buying property. But I had always been told since childhood, like, don't waste your money in rent, try to buy as early as you can. So that's what we did. So 20,000 euro down payment at the age of 24. By the age of 35, we had finished our mortgage by investing a lot of a share of our salary, and the property value is something around 220,000. So in 11 years, went from 20,000 euros saving investment to then, you know, ending up to a 220,000 euro capital value. So I think this is one of the best return probably that anyone can get, unless investing in a Tesla or a stock market in the very early days of Tesla or Apple, yeah, like you showed. So definitely it's I think very important, this point. And also that you don't have to buy in Helsinki. We know the prices in Helsinki are crazy. With 20,000 euro down payment, you can maybe buy a place to park your car, but there are also other options maybe outside of the Helsinki. And on that note, actually, there was a comment regarding the housing investment, that of course one of the challenges is that the renting of an apartment, for instance, you invest in seems to be at a 30% taxation level, which of course is quite high. But would you still recommend that even with the high taxes, it's still like a good investment to make to rent apartments?
I would say that at the moment, usually in the past, I was thinking about renting, not renting long term, but doing Airbnb, because we have much more renting revenue from Airbnb than a long term rent. So still with that 30%, I still recommend that you rent it out, because of course with the 30%, we will not be able to make any positive cash flow. However, we have somebody else paying for our principal, so paying back to the bank for us.
Yeah, got it. Then you were talking about, you know, knowing the industry where you invest is always preferable, and you said that you were yourself from paper industry. So someone actually asked if you have any good investment tip at the moment for paper industry. So stock market, I think was the topic.
I could give a general trend, but I think you already know that. So paper is in the declining market. Is no way that is going to make any big comeback in the future with all the digitalization and stuff like that. But maybe you can look for companies that are moving from paper more to paper packaging. So, you know, with all of this online shopping, so there's a lot of need for packaging material. So maybe look into the company with the new investment or R&D in the packaging. So they would be the one who succeeds in the future.
Then there were questions about your thoughts on cryptocurrencies as an investment.
I must say that I have a very small amount of investment in cryptocurrency. My personal opinion is that I don't have enough understanding of the cryptocurrency to actually actively invest in that. So sorry that I couldn't give any
no
strong
worries.
opinion on that.
That might be the one where then you need to study more in that sense. Not you personally, but I mean that us in general need to study more because it's more uncertain.
One question that I ask myself, if I invest in something, and if somebody asks me like, why do you think that the price will go up? And if I cannot answer that within 1 minute, then I shouldn't invest in that.
That's a good philosophy. I like that. Then there were questions concerning government bonds. I'm afraid I'm not exactly sure what they are. So is that an option in Finland? Do you know?
I don't think that you can buy the government bond directly, but you can buy it via the mutual fund that invest in the government bond, or the ETF that invest in the mutual bond. Sorry, invest in the government bond.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Then there were questions if you have some specific recommendation when it comes to you know, funds or other investments that can support the entrepreneurs to prepare for their pension.
I think it doesn't matter if you are an entrepreneur or you are a salaryman. So you can always invest in a mutual fund and ETF, and not like in the US that they have like this 401 scheme. In Finland, we do not have that, so you just have to invest on your own. So you can, I would recommend maybe invest in some, or not invest, but take a look at those technology funds. So they are very highly focused on technology company, and usually they provide very good return.
Okay, very good. Then the next question that was, can we buy in Finland IPO stocks?
You can register that, but by myself, I have never been able to buy that. So usually they have like big institutional investor. They are the one who take those.
So not
really
as a
hard
private
for
individual,
really hard for individual to buy that.
Okay, very good. Then there was a point about when you are in a savings account and for hypothetically the bank would go bankrupt, how much would be guaranteed? And it seemed that the answer from the chat was 100,000 euros is the guarantee basically from savings accounts, if you can confirm.
Yes, actually I put that in a note here.
Sorry.
No, I mean for my own note. But I remember, yes, it's 100,000 euros.
I think it's 100,000 too, yes.
Per bank, yes.
Yes.
If you have more than that, you can split that into different banks.
Yes.
Just to be safe.
That was actually the advice also from one of the ladies on the chat, that if you reach that ceiling, then you should invest in a different bank. Then we had another question around the popular stockbrokers with low fee. So you already went through the three. So you had Nordea and then the Netbank and the third one, I forgot the name. But somebody also mentioned in our chat Selixon as a good option, and I have heard from them as well. So any experiences you can share from Selixon? Not that we are here to make publicity, but I mean.
Yeah, sorry, I did not use that platform, so I couldn't say any experience. But maybe you also want to look into like Interactive Brokers or DeGiro. They are also a very popular platform.
Okay, very good. At least Selixon, I know a few people who have been using and have been recommending it as well. So I'm saying this also because many people will watch the recording so that they didn't see the the chat text. Then we had still something around, yes, you kind of covered this already. So just as a kind of a reminder for everybody that the question was, is it better to always invest in the long-term investments or then in the short-term investments? And I think your answer has been that it's maybe best to have a mixed portfolio, because shorter investment can be riskier, but give then the faster return and longer one. So instead of like putting all the eggs into one basket, the idea is to do portfolio management basically, and have some kind of diversity. Of course, when you have the first fund or first saving, you can't maybe do that so well. But if you start saving more and want to invest more, I think the advice is, generally speaking, that there is no one magic recipe and need to, you know, take different approach and manage this as a portfolio.
Yeah, and I think it's depends very much on how much time that you can commit into monitoring your portfolio. So if you don't have enough time, maybe you only want to check your portfolio once a month, then there's no way that you can invest in short term.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Priyanka, should I go ahead with your question, or you want to ask it out loud?
Yeah, sure, go ahead. It's fine. Yeah.
Yes. Then question from Priyanka was that how do you diversify your investment portfolio, and do you use any rules or framework?
Yes, so I have my own portfolio set up like this. So I have roughly 70% invest in the stock market, and then I have 20% invest in mutual fund bond. So they are mutual fund that mostly have their access in government or corporate bond. So they are more defensive strategy. And then maybe I would leave somewhere from 5 to 7% invest in interesting item, for example, like with cryptocurrency, things that I'm not too sure, but they are too hot to skip. So,
any hot tip you can give, because you said you're not going to, this is not so much with the cryptocurrency, so any other hot tip you can give us for this, let's say, playing money, the one that you don't cry if you lose in the end?
Verkos is one good tip.
Verkos.
Every week. It's Friday.
Verkos. Okay. The lottery,
20
the
million,
lottery
yes.
games. Yes, I like that. I'm actually starting to play on next week. I have decided that you know, life's too short, so I said to my husband, I download the app and I'm just going to give it a try. But okay, €2 per week, I think, is a reasonable investment. Very good.
Just kidding. But some other thing that you can look at is commodity trading. So they are trading like oil and gas, and then also like wheat and other like a physical product.
Got it.
So you can look into those.
Yes, very good. Then I think from the ones that I recorded, we are pretty much done, but there's still a couple of more coming in. Have you heard about Saxo Bank and or IG brokers for Europe? And if so, then what's your thought on it?
Sorry, I did not use them, so I don't have any experience.
No worries. Ladies, any final questions that we want to cover? I'm not seeing them popping up anymore, so I think we have gone around, let's say, the sort of like basic level, but as a consensus, I think that, again, great presentation, very much interest from our participants to have a next level where we can talk maybe more in detail, particularly around the taxation system, that there was a lot of questions and discussions on the chat about that. And then maybe we could have also this cryptocurrency topic then from someone who has been going over. And yes, this tax rating up to €30,000, 30%, and over €30,000, 34% was actually discussed in our chat as well. So that's very good.
One thing that I remind myself is every time you make a transaction, so when you buy or sell your investment, make sure that you keep track of it. It might be in Excel file or write it down in your notebook. So you always have something to double check.
Yes, excellent. So once again, thank you for Priyanka for assisting me today with the technical aspects of our recording because I couldn't manage it all. Thank you very much, Noemi, for the practical, empowering guidelines and the exercises. So for the IWWOF ladies, they are shared in the event page on our Facebook group. And then thank you again, Bao, for a great presentation. I think we are all now having to do our homework and some thinking and get started now with this investment topic. And like I said, we will try to maybe organize in a couple of months an advanced version of this. So thank you for everyone who has been joining us online and all the wonderful comments that we have received about our presenters. So this is very great that it's useful for you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you from my side as well.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.